Hey gang, I'm gonna be going over saber basics. You know, like different ways to hold the saber. You know, different guards. You know, and you know how to actually attack. Oh, how to actually attack. You know, swing your saber, and that was kind of wompy. But kind of like that. Come back. You always have. I don't. I'm not good with my footwork. I suck with my footwork actually, and I get out of breath pretty quickly. So, still need to train more if I actually want to do saber. You know, but I can't see my legs obviously. But you want to get like a little bit far apart. You want to keep your other hand out of the way. That's just how you do it. Because certain other swords styles, you have another hand for like grappling and stuff. Like particularly in a rapier and small sword, because you can still kind of like grab it like a rapier like that. Because they still have like an edge, but they're smaller and like if you're wearing like gloves or something, they're a little easier to grab. Sabers not so much. Also, it's less thrusting like in rapier. It's more winding cuts, So like rapier, I just and you grab it or move it out of the way and then like cut the person. With saber, you can really do that because you try to do that, it's like whoosh, whoosh, kind of a little different. All sword styles are different. All swords are different. This particularly isn't really a true saber. I don't know, like this one particularly is like the closest I could find for just a foam one that's actually decent. And this thing does pack a punch to it. If I hit myself hard, it hurts. So, or your personal protective equipment. Uh, yeah, it's pretty easy to understand. Like what I just did right there was a pointer grip. That's more of like a rapier type grip. I use it sometimes, just while I like thrust and stuff. Like if I thrust you and come back, like I'll do that sometimes. It's actually really a mistake. That's just what I do. So like, and then like, I'm making noises because can't really hear the. I'm not. I'm assuming so. Yeah. The first off, how do you hold the damn thing? That's a good question. You see here, you got good hand protection. It's not the worst. On some like cavalry like sabers, they come out a little bit more like square out. Because you're not dueling with those, you're just trying to get long winding cuts and scouting. And that's like back in the day. We don't do cavalry stuff anymore. But if there was like a cavalry kind of like reenactment, you wouldn't see a saber like this. You'd see it more a little longer, a little bit more of a curve, and the guard would be different. But this again is more like a much later example of a saber guard. Uh, Mostly because it's just the design, but most of them will have like kind of like if you see here, it's varying thickness. That's for just like holding it with one of the ways to hold it. I forgot what it's called because bringing a worky, but this is just one of the grips. Kind of like the pointer grip, which is like this, but you're more higher up. This one's really good for like fast, snappy actions, but it's really loose. You see, if you've noticed that while I'm swinging with that grip, because I'm not really doing it hard, but also just in general, it does get a little. You do kind of like loose. So like you can imagine if you're in the middle of one of these winding attacks, and you get hit really hard on the side of the blade, or like you get beated, or like you get blocked and then moved, like you go, kind of like actually like move out of the way, like move the blade out of the way in any way. It's gonna kind of womp a bit, It might actually drop out of your hands because it's not the sturdiest grip. The sturdiest grip is, just the hammer grip, which I think is what's called because you hold it kind of like a hammer. This one's really good for blocking, beating out of the way. I'll show you that again. Blocking, beating out of the way. You saw what it was. You'll understand that later. Like if you beat it out of the way and then come back, it's really good for that. But if you want to do like those winding cuts like you did with that other grip, like this, it's much harder. It's not as sturdy, and if you do it too hard with the hammer grip, sorry, I got interrupted. But yeah, try to do that with the hammer grip, and you do it like too hard, you're like, wah, 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 you know, that kind of happens, and that's never good, especially if you actually hit your target. So hammer grips are for like defending and like good deep cuts, you know, stuff like that. And there's some kind of mix in between. I don't know what this one's called either, but like it's kind of like, you know, this is the first grip, hammer grip. Then you kind of dip it out a bit, where it's kind of slanted, and that's the other grip. Kind of like with your thumb on the side right there. Really good for point maneuver. It's really good for faster attacks than the hammer grip. A little bit more versatility, and you can still kind of block with it pretty well and maneuver your blade. Kind of stuff like that. So it's actually really good to do all three of them. Best thing with the saber is it's just like most swords. Some of them you can't really do this, but you can change what grip you're using. You have a hammer grip, pointer grip, and you know, kind of just change it out a bit. Whenever, like if I'm fighting, you know, I'm blocking that pointer grip. Oh, I just messed it up. See, I was in the pointer grip. I almost launched it out of my hand like that. So it's really important that you don't go full force with the pointer grip. You just, the swords are sharp. So if you're actually like fighting someone with like a sharp sword, you wouldn't need to hit them like, you know, you just have to. It's a big cut, you know. You just like they're done. You get a decent like hit on that arm. They're like, oh crap, and then you know, kind of. It's swords are a lot different than anything else. You know, guns are just fire and forget. You know, swords are like you actually have to, you know, hit them. But unlike guns, where like you shoot someone in the arm, they're just still able to shoot you. You know, you get cut on the arm, it's like, oh crap. It's a little different because that arm's basically gone. Because with guns, you know, yeah, you can hit somebody like here and they're done. That arm's done. But with swords, it's a little different. And so I shot you like, so just grazed you with the bullet, it's like, oh crap. Pew, pew, pew. A little different. Swords, I graze you like that. That's a deep wound. Back in the day, that was fatal because there was no medicine. Like, that would get infected like really easily. So like you have to be really careful if you're an adult, you know, back in the day. Big deal. Very big deal to get cut at all. Right there. The addle cut with the thumb. With the sword, with how sharp they are and with the weight and the actual momentum, that thumb's gone. You're not using that. The bone's crushed, if anything. You know, even with a dull sword, you get a good swing with a dull sword, it's breaking bones. Swords are not a joke. That's why we don't use real sharp swords or even real metal. Like, well, we use real metal, but not like sword grade metal in like actual sports and stuff. Because if we did that, you'd break something. That's why we have the big damn face protectors and stuff, and they're very thick. If you actually, well, they're not thick, but they're very strong. If you like look at them, you know, if you actually like, feel them. So getting hit with like a sword there, you maybe, but it's just a big thing. It's a really big deal to be safe in fighting swords. That's why this is a foam sword. If I hit really hard, like enough to break this thing, I might do some damage to my arm. Like on my arm right then, it would hurt a lot. Like, and this is foam, not like super squishy foam. It's pretty stiff, but you can still kind of see it. Like, still gotta push it in a bit, you know. This design of the sword is meant to inflict damage. Just the very design of itself. Anyways, back to the rest of this. So you know your grips, you know. Now let's talk about the guards. Guards are less different than blocks. Blocks are you're actually taking action to do. You know, like if the swords come to you, you actually block it, you know, and then you react. Or if you're a noob, don't react. You kind of just sit there and wait to get stabbed. But yeah. With guards, you're kind of does a lot of things. Like you can like try to feint people, guards. You sit in this position, wait for them. Easy to block from that area. It's like this guard right here. Easy to block incoming attacks top, a little less faster to get below, and you can do like easy head cuts and stuff and swishes and all that, and it's really easy to base off of this guard. This one's really good for thrusts and snaps. I do not remember the names, but I know what they are. Then of course there's like your outside kind of one like this, really good to like bring in to deflect like thrusts and stuff, and then come back. Really, really good guards come with saber. And another common misconception about actually blocking with a sword, your blocking is less about the strength of the blade, more of the strength of how you're doing it. Because it doesn't matter if I have the strongest, most greatest blade folded 10,000 times. If my block is this, barely touched it. But if my block is like really good and you're not getting through that. You're not getting through that unless your sword is 1,000 pounds. It's a decent structure with a good grip and good guard. Nothing's getting past that. Nothing is, unless your sword is 10,000 pounds and you just. Which at that point, why would you have 10,000 pounds sword? Stabs, thrust anybody, kind of. Everything comes with its weaknesses. Saber, its weakness is leverage. Like longsword has two hands. Easy to that was a terrible representation, but I also have to deal with this. So it's easy to guard and block and thrust, do big cuts with a longsword. Because it has two hands, and you do a lot of damage because you have two hands to deal with, and it uses the power of both arms. Saber's a little different. It's also smaller because it's all like a little shorter than most swords. Well, most two-handed swords, because obviously you're using one hand, and you don't want it to be too much weight. You want it to be light. Sabers are usually very light. There's heavy sabers, but those are more for cavalry use because you're gonna want them to do more than just a little dueling little thing, So obviously, saber is my favorite because that's what I'm doing it on. It's the only thing I got is a saber. I like longsword too. I'm just better with saber. So the guards, of course. Here, there's a good one here. I notice I turn my hand a bit. This guard is not a block. You wouldn't block like that because obviously, really, it's it looks like I'm doing more of a flex than I'm doing a actual sword thing. This is the guard, right? It's from here you can go out, you can go in, you can pull back, all that stuff. From this, you also got an outside version, which is even worse. Do not get hit when you're doing this. Yeah, but this is good for good at quick attacks, good for little snaps. Good for thrusts. Good from this to, great, really great. And of course, I showed you this one, which is good for big winding cuts and actual damaging things that just to say again, if I'm like this and I just and I hit you right here, there's no coming back from that. You're done. It's gonna go this deep, break that whole shoulder. Definitely gonna leave you in a bad spot. And then the guy's just oh, you're screwed. And then you're done. There's just no way. You do not get hit in a duel. Don't. That's why in most combat sports that deal with swords and stuff, even if I hit you in the hand, that's a point. Because guess what? Fingers are important. You don't want to deal with fingers. That brings us to how to actually swing the damn thing. Because obviously you're not going to do... you're also not going to do video games and be and you're not going to... Whoa! You're not sitting here like you're in Final Fantasy, okay? You're actually trying to do something, okay? So obviously, of course, here's your position. You don't want to be like this, but you also don't want to be like this. You want to get like a good in between, so you still have some potential to come out, also has potential to come in, and you're not like fully just stab, 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 and you're not fully just cut, cut. You still got plenty of room to work with. That's why this is how you go. You could get a little lower. I like to be a little higher up and bend your knees too, so you can like dip, and fall back. Because if you're straight, you can't really. It's kind of harder to do that. It's kind of dipping is still different, So keep your knees bent, kind of like if you ever done karate, you know how they tell you to do your front foot forward and your other foot to the side, kind of like that too. You don't want to have them both straight because obviously that's awkward, and you don't have it all the way backwards because why are you doing it like that? So just common sense. It's comfortable to be standing like this. Obviously, is what's going to be right. Swing with it. All depends on your grip. Hammer grip, good for these kind of guards, like have it like that, and you can do multiple things. First off, you want to have edge alignment. If I swing at you like this, is the edge facing towards it? No. That's what are you gonna do? It could hurt, yeah. Though in your personal protective equipment, that's nothing. And judges are most likely not going to count that as a point. You shouldn't try to make that count as a point. It's just bad sportsmanship. So.
You do know he's back, but if y'all
Yes, I know.
play the game.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
Sorry. Anyways, but yeah, there's obvious techniques to do with this, but like I said earlier, you don't want to do like those really fast like kind of like these kind of techniques unless you have the correct grip. So let's just say, for instance, you have like this kind of grip, right? You get a little one of these. You're trying to do like a really big winding attack. That's not gonna work. You're gonna want one of these. You're gonna want like a better point, and you just want to, like. And what I did there is weird, like saber. It's all about the motion of the wrist and like shoulders. Like, you see, I'm up here like this. It's less of just with your elbow. It's like there's a lot more to do over here and here with it, And think of your whole arm as the saber, because you want it to be. You don't want to be straight like this, because. So think of like this, your arm that you're using. It's kind of like the back of the saber, That's at least how I do it. So you take that, and you put it in, You kind of just work it out. Like they come over here, you kind of you get your like hammer, beat, and then like if you want to like strike at their head easily, come back here and then just whoosh. So let me show you that again. Whoosh. Go, up, block the incoming attack coming down this way, and then switch to the guard. Whoosh. Easy, and then you get a point, unless they are competent, like really good, and like you block that, and they just like say they blocked it, and then just whoosh, just like waka, waka, saber is a lot about feints, just like rapier, because and not a lot you can do with that. So just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get you here, and then same thing with saber. Trick the opponent to thinking you're about to do something. Like get into this guard, so they think you're about to like thrust or like do a big attack, and then just. Well, I mean, hold on, I did that wrong. Instead of just thrust or do a big attack, you just switch over here and. So instead of doing that, like jabbing at them, or doing a big attack where they know that that's what you're gonna do, you just, oh yeah, Yeah. Just like I said earlier, with saber, you also don't want to be super like, don't want to go super hard, especially with your training blades. You more just want to just be able to get hit in, and if you actually you hit them, you know, follow through with it, and then come back for another one. Never be too sure. I would like to make a note, a disclaimer. I've never been to a tournament. I have never gotten real practice. Everything I know from this, I've known from videos. So I'm not a valid source, I guess. So that's just what I know and what I believe is correct. So that's what I'm doing. You know? Shit. Dropped it again because it's one of these guys. So yeah. I forgot where I actually got this from, but I think it was Amazon. They're pretty cheap, so but they're also really well made and work good. Another thing, you got a curved stick that's pretty strong. You can probably use the same thing. I just don't want to take that to an event. So yeah, enjoy stabbing things and cutting things with a saber. Fun. You're welcome.